I'm very tired today. I don't sleep anymore.
Why?
I don't know. I shouldn't say not sleep because that implies literally no sleep. Obviously,
Yes.
if I didn't sleep at all, I'd be dead now.
Fitful sleep?
I'd be. No, not fitful. Not fitful. I sleep through the few hours that I get.
Stop and
But
go?
I do 5 hours. And I'm taking vitamins, all these vitamins that Sam Vincent told me to take. So I'm taking all the vitamins, and I think that's it's not keeping me up, but I think it's preventing me from being super tired in the day. So I don't know what the hell's in these vitamins, but I recommend them.
Are they pep pills?
They're
what they used
just
to
a
get-
bunch of
That's what they
Pet
used to
pills?
give John F. Kennedy, and he had a doctor, Dr. Feelgood. That's where that came from. Apparently.
Oh.
Yeah. So do you fall asleep and then wake up at some point?
Yeah, I fall asleep like instantly. I fall asleep, boom. I read for maybe. It's actually bad. It's terrible because reading before I fall asleep now tricks my brain into thinking that reading is time for sleep. So I can't just sit down and read like I would normally because within 5 minutes I'm asleep. That sucks. And if I was like back in school or something, I'd be a disaster because I wouldn't be able to read anything. But I fall asleep no problem. I can't stay asleep. So I'll get like 4 or 5 hours and then I'm up and that's that. So, you know.
And that's when you have to start tilling the fields.
Right.
That's what your body is telling you.
Milk the chickens and slaughter the neighbors and do all the stuff that farmers do. Yeah. Which is good.
Well, I find that I have fallen into a pattern of waking up before my alarm.
How far before your alarm?
An hour sometimes.
Oh.
Sometimes
okay.
10 minutes.
Uh-huh.
But it's always, and then if it's one of those hours, I just go, oh, well, what's the point? I guess I should just get up.
Yeah, that's tricky because if it's 2 hours before the alarm, you can go, okay,
you try.
I'm going to sleep. But
I'm
if
going to
it's
try.
Like 40 minutes before the alarm? No, you can't.
point.
Even if you're lying there, you're just thinking, well, in 38 minutes, the alarm's just going to go off. So what's the point of anything?
I envy people. Like I remember a trip my brother and my cousin and I took to London, and it was one of those, well, there's 3 of us. We're not all going in the same room. Those guys were closer in age, so we were adults. They took the double, I took the single, and my brother was complaining that my cousin, how did it come up? Basically, we were all working with the time change and it was weird. And my cousin's the kind of guy that can wake up, look at the clock and go, oh, I'm going to go back to sleep. And my brother and I are the types that, like, if something wakes you up and you look at a clock, you're up. Like, it just starts.
Right.
I'm sure it's all connected to ADD and all of those things that are, so awesome to have. But if I wake up and if it's not dead in the middle of the night where I can just go, oh, that was just a momentary wakey, then I can probably get myself back to sleep. But if there's any thoughts that start, I'm kind of done.
Yeah,
I'm
and
up.
if you think about that, if you say, if I start thinking about something, it's like the old thing, don't think about an elephant. Don't think about an elephant. And that's, well, there you go.
Yeah.
You sent me an article about a woman who got, what was it? She got hit in the head, or was it a stroke?
I think she had a stroke. Now, do we have the capability to, do we have the technology to share that clip?
We do in post-production.
Well, maybe we'll run the clip.
Sarah Colwell from Plymouth in England is a dead-set Pom who now sounds like she's from Shanghai.
It wasn't until I was in the ambulance on the way to the hospital she actually said, are you aware of the way you were speaking? And I said, oh, I sound like I have a slur. And she said, no, you sound like you could work at a Chinese restaurant. She said, you look good working the local China house or something.
These three women share an extraordinary illness that sounds like a joke, but has left them frustrated, ashamed, and lonely.
Crush.
Crusher.
Now, do you believe that? Like, do you actually believe it? Because it just seems like something I would do.
I know, but I've heard about this before. I've heard multiple times, not with the same woman. That would be something.
And each time she's from a different continent.
That's a show right there, I think.
Yeah. Hit her again.
Yeah. Where is she gonna wind up this time? She's surely the accent queen.
Where in the world is Shirley the accent queen?
Yeah. Language is a funny thing. You're a child, and you can train your brain so much easier when your brain is all mushy and childlike. It gets harder.
I think they call that elastic.
Yes, right. What did I say? Well, mushy, elastic. It's
Mushy and childlike. I know people like that. I know a lot of adults that are mushy and childlike.
Yes, we've worked with some of them.
Yes.
But yeah, so as a kid, it's obviously a lot easier to learn a language, and then I think your brain it doesn't want to play ball when you get to be an adult. So an adult woman who wakes up with an accent. See, that's the thing, an accent. Yeah. What? That's almost like multiple personality disorder somehow, isn't it?
Yes. I have given this an inordinate amount of thought. Just the whole idea of, like, I think we've talked about this, where if you or I were plucked out of where we live right now, and suddenly you're going to live in the East End of London. Within a very short period of time, you and I, the elastic boys that we are, would probably, let's just say we'll start to lose or minimize our general Canadian, North American neutrality in our accent. We'd start picking up the lingo.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think that in the beginning that would happen. We've talked about this before, this idea that when you go to a new place and right away our ears pick it up and you start to replicate it. But I find that, because I've lived in the States now for 10 years, and 8 of those years was in L.A., with what they call the neutral American accent. Sorry, everybody else in the States, but
there's
nothing neutral about it. But that's what
true.
They call it.
No.
It's just ego and arrogance that assumes the Californians are what everybody else wants to sound like. But I've been in Texas now for almost 2 years, and the Texas accent is not surrounding me, but it exists. Being in the States for 10 years, I still retain my Canadianisms, it's still there. Like, even, obviously, when I'm speaking to you and I'm looking back at these conversations, I'm like, oh, there was a little Canadianism. There was a little,
yeah, but we're talking about like just sprinkles. Sprinkles.
Yeah.
And I think we're in a unique situation because we, as professionals, have had any regionalisms removed or polished out of us.
Beaten out of us by many Canadian directors.
I didn't want to say that, but you're right. Beaten out of us by a Canadian director, any one of them who purports to be an expert on the neutral Californian accent, which, whatever. It used to drive me nuts. I think I've mentioned our family business was pianos and musical instruments. And, in California, a piano that starts with a Y is a Yamaha. A Yamaha.
A Yamaha?
Yamaha. And in Canada, it was like Yamaha.
It's a Yamaha.
And in Japan, it's Yamaha. It's almost. I think it may actually be Yamaha, but it's like fairly
right.
So, why did I bring that up? It's like, there are different ways of pronouncing things that are subtleties. But I think if you were thrust into, here's an example. Because I don't know. I think I would have to work at, if I was thrown into living in England, I think I would have to work at keeping my accent, my neutral, what I think is a neutral accent. I think I would. But yeah, maybe we're going to have to test the theory.
That would be a great test. We moved to England for some reason.
Yeah,
for a year.
Like could we get, if there's
sponsorship?
I'm sure. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of listeners from higher learning, like maybe Oxford, Yale, any of these large, maybe even MIT, if we could, convince them that it's something to do with technology. Like, they could send us. We're going to send these 2 voice actors to England.
Yeah.
And we're going to send one to London and one to Birmingham.
Yeah.
And let's see
what happens. That's the reality show is what that is.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, that would be great.
Let's do it.
Call us, Hollywood. Call us.
Yeah. So
We'll do
anyway,
it.
what I was going to say was I had this very good friend in school who was from Northern Ireland. And he
Belfast.
moved. He was Belfast. And he moved. He was probably. I became friends with him once we were in junior high, and like grade 10. Oh no. Yeah. Anyway, I wasn't there at the beginning when he moved, and he essentially had no discernible accent. There was a few words because his parents were like full on
The brogue.
Belfast.
Right.
And he had completely lost it. Alan, if you're listening, Alan. But there was more or less of an accent and more of a word choice of phrasing.
Right.
That you could kind of, pick up on stuff. So he was an example of a guy that moved and just went, I'm out. And it would take a really good ear to, notice that.
Rare. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I think for myself that if I was to live in a place anywhere really, I think it's because I'm always so aware of other people's accents. I think that's what would prevent me from losing my own because I'm always listening to it.
Yeah, you're probably right. Oh, God, I hate when you're right.
It doesn't happen very often, so it's okay.
So this lady that, starts doing something that we would probably get fired or canceled for.
Oh, yes, ridiculously, yes.
Like, how about if we come up with, here's the scenario. We're in a session, and there's a character that they want to cast within the room, and it's an Asian male. And what if you gave the story like, oh, I just fell down and hit my head, and then popped up and started sounding like that lady? Would anyone buy it? No.
You'd have to actually hit your head. Oh. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you actually have to hit your head so that people would buy it? And then they'd be freaking out and they'd be calling doctors.
Oh, you're right.
Putting the hospital.
Yeah, that's.
So I don't.
Oh, that's a bad idea. That was a terrible idea.
Yeah, I think we can just do it and say to hell with you. We're voice actors. This is what we do. Sorry.
So you mentioned you mentioned the notion of like multiple personality territory. And I think that's a really good question because you go, well, okay, now hang on, what? Like this lady must have known Asian British people, like to have that just be there, like you have to have it in your consciousness somewhere.
Yeah.
And I just don't get it.
I mean, I can understand, like, with us, where we're always trying to learn new things. Like how I learned the South African, the Johannesburg accent. It just
was
came
that from
to me-
Henny?
Well, no, not directly. I couldn't do the Johannesburg accent forever. It was like the Holy Grail to me. And then one day I was hanging my laundry, hanging the wash, right, like you do, right. I was hanging the wash on the line like this, and I was talking to the wash, and right away I realized I was sounding like this. I was like, what? What? And then I went to I was doing a Guardians of the Galaxy session that day, and I went in and I started to talk like this. I was like, look what I found in my apartment. I found this accent, right? It came out of nowhere. And the producer actually heard that and went, oh, well, now we have to cast you as Claw in Black Panther. So I played him because of that. So that was fortuitous. But actually, suddenly getting that accent out of the blue, with me, you can go, okay, well, I'm always listening.
Working on it or somewhere in there.
You watch District 9 and that sticks in your head. Henny, which was he was an engineer we had back in Vancouver. He had that very thick sort of South African accent, right, like that.
Yep.
So that was lodged in my head. But someone like this woman, if you had no real exposure or reason to be listening to accents, why would that happen? It's so weird.
I don't know. That's why it seems so fake to me. Like I just go, are you sure you're not having us on? Like,
are you having a laugh? Are you having a laugh?
Yeah. Are you having a laugh? I don't know. And then why that one?
Yeah.
Now, I wonder if mentioned it earlier, like, do people have this happen and then they speak another language? Is that a thing?
I don't know, but that would be the true test. That would be otherworldly.
I think I've seen that like on Gilligan's Island or something.
Well, as we know, they did their very careful scientific research when they were writing those episodes. So it's likely that whatever you saw on that show is true.
I don't. Well, like when he had a filling and was tuning in radio signals from.
Yes, or as we all know, if you do get hit on the head, and you become someone else, the only cure is another hit on the head.
Another hit on the head, of course.
Well,
that's science.
It's science.
Yeah. Why? Let's not spend any time on that.
Here's what I want to do. I want to go to this Asian lady. Was she Chinese? No. What was she?
No. She was just a Caucasian lady.
Some woman, and she gets hit on the head or had this whatever, and she speaks with that accent. I want to hit her in different parts of the head to see if different accents come out. It's almost like tuning her brain.
Yeah, like a tuning fork.
Like a
bing.
So. Lady, if you're hey lady, if you're watching, listening, whatever, we want to hit you on the head multiple times and document it for science. So we'll give you nothing in return for that. You said something before. You said you said it in jest. You said we're professionals. I had a girlfriend. Well, maybe more of an affair, but whatever. It was a lovely woman I was spending some quality time with some years ago.
Yes,
and at one point. She was a nurse or something. And I said, talking about my work, I said, well, I am a professional, And she said, well, you're not really a professional.
Yeah.
I said, what are you talking about? She said, well, a professional is like a doctor or a lawyer. Somebody carries a briefcase, wears a suit. And I'm like, that's not what that means, professional. But then I got in this argument with her, and I felt like I was losing the argument because I didn't have a good definition.
She's not wrong. In the general understanding of what a professional is, and it's not right. She's not wrong. It's not right. Did I just say that?
Clearly, you're not a professional. Is it that you need letters behind your name to be a professional? Is that what that means?
Something like that. Because I remember thinking this very thing. Is a plumber a professional plumber? Well, of course he is.
Right.
He's it is your profession.
He derives his profession from, yes.
If only there was a way we could look up the definition of something quickly.
Yeah. Tragically,
like a word.
We'll never have that technology in our lifetimes.
No. Let's read the dictionary definition of professional.
This is why people tune into this show, is to listen to us read definitions.
Following an occupation as a means of livelihood or for gain.
Well, then everybody's
Yeah.
a professional if they have a job.
Yes.
That's kind of vague. That's kind of broad.
Then, of relating to or connected to a profession, appropriate to a profession, engaged in one of the learned professions.
The learned professions, yes.
Yes, and as a noun, a person who belongs to one of the professions, especially one of the learned professions. So I think that's where it gets mucky. It's like, well, like to your point of letters, that's a learned profession. A doctor, profession. A lawyer, candlestick maker. No.
Haberdashery owner.
I got into the ER words. Doctor, lawyer, candlestick. No, that's a different. What's that poem?
Butcher, and the baker. They're all professionals.
Well, yes, they are.
They got their certificates from the trade school.
Yeah. We're professionals. There's just. I think that girl didn't want to have anything to do with you.
Well, I mean, I could go into details, but I was grossly offended by that. It might have been a breakup offense, if I recall. It might have been like, well, sorry, sweetheart, but if you don't accept that I'm a professional, then what am I doing here with you? Right? I think it might have been that.
That's kind of what I was driving at. I don't know who was pushing that, but yeah.
I broke up with a girl once because she ate her French fries like this. She would take a French fry, she would take a little packet of ketchup, and she'd squeeze a little ketchup on each fry. I said, "Oh, that's it. This is not going to work."
Well, how very Seinfeld of you. How very George Costanza of you specifically.
She had man hands.
That's it.
I can't. How can I be with someone like you?
Well, that is pretty weird. I'm not going to lie. That's pretty weird.
Yeah. A lot of people thought it was cute. I just thought, no, this can't. How can I be with someone who eats French fries like this? I mean, it's unheard of.
In her defense, I don't know this girl, but in her defense, that is very tidy.
Yeah, maybe that was the problem. It was a little too tidy. A little too fastidious for the likes of me. I dump the ketchup on the thing and have a big lake of ketchup, and you just swirl that, and that's what you do with that.
Well, I remember the days of, why did we do this? I guess in the early days of McDonald's, it was, you didn't get this may be really dating myself. I don't think they came in the little cardboard packies. They were like wrapped in paper, even the big ones.
The French fries.
No, the hamburgers. So the French fries would come in a bag. This is before the cardboard thing, too.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they had large fries. Everything was just, here's your fries in an envelope.
Right.
And when we would go there, why am I remembering this? I remember laying out the napkin and putting the ketchup on the napkin.
On the napkin.
But why wouldn't we put it on the wrapper?
See, that's what I did. You take, especially if it was like a cheeseburger or something, you just right on there you go. But and then with the Big Mac, once you had the box, you open the box and the other half of the box,
then
that's
you put
for the fries, and then you take the hamburger and then you put your ketchup on the other side, and you got a whole system going on there.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's still the thing. I haven't actually been to a McDonald's in many years, so I don't recall. I don't know what they're like now.
I think that is still de rigueur, as they say. Let's look that one up for Ken. De rigueur. Well, first I'd have to spell it.
Yes.
I don't know what it is. But okay. So we briefly swung by a Seinfeld reference. And I had a question for you. Do you watch comedy specials? Like,
like stand-up
Netflix,
specials?
HBO.
Yeah.
Because everyone's got one. Anyone who's got one. What do you think of them?
Well, I suppose it depends who's doing it.
Yes. Because I see some guys, like, there's the biggies, the Dave Chappelle's, I guess Jerry Seinfeld's got one that's relatively new. Bill Burr, your friend.
Oh, yes, Bill Burr. Billy, as I like to call him.
Oh, why did I bring it up? God, why?
For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, see literally every other episode of this podcast because we talk about how I know Bill Burr.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so those guys are yes, I see why you have one. And then there was a time when I really liked Sebastian Maniscalco. Is that his name?
Is that the Italian dude?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know.
And then I got kind of tired because it's like, but this is kind of the problem with comedy. It kind of is the same thing over and over and over again. But that's just comes down to taste and preference, and I like my stuff a little edgy. But I watched this thing. This thing came up. Speaking of Bill Burr,
as we do,
it was this thing that came up on my YouTube feed, and it was Theo Von, young comic, who was kvetching and commiserating with a colleague of his about this Bill Burr interview that he had that went wrong. And I thought, well, oh, wow, they're really going on about it. They were talking about how, Bill was this, and, well, yeah, but Bill's, of a certain stature, and you have to give him, your props, but, and then he said this, and then he was like that, and I was going, well, okay, hold on. Like, I don't know Bill Burr the way someone like Trevor Devall that knows Bill Burr, but that seemed weird to me. So I goes, and I looks it up. And I goes and finds the Theo Von thing with the Bill Burr. And I'm watching them, and I'm going, oh, I'm with Bill. Yeah, I'm with Bill. He's sitting there, like, basically going, look, somehow I missed the Theo Von memo. Like, I didn't know who this guy was. He came out of the clear blue, him and his teeth and his mullet, and I get it. Oh yeah, you're young. I got it. So the first thing I did was text my son. I go, who's this Theo Von guy? Oh, he's really popular. What? Okay. So then I go and I dive into the Bill Burr thing back and forth, and I'm watching Bill kind of just going most of the time going, what the fuck? Why are you asking that? You know better than that. Oh, come on. Because Bill is picking up on, you're either acting dumber than you need to, and he's zeroing on it. Like, come on, dude, we're having a chat here, not doing a show, right? Yeah. And it was lost on Theo, and he started getting, like, you could see him physically start to tense up, like, oh, this isn't going well. Bill Burr doesn't like me, and then it becomes that animal that feeds itself.
Yeah.
Like we've been in those situations. Sometimes it's us.
Yeah.
And you go, ew, what's happening here? Oh no, I'm falling in on myself.
Yeah.
And then him and his, now I'm transferring over to this other clip of him and his buddy reminiscing and talking about everything that went on in the Bill Burr interview. And then how about that time, like right at the end, where he just had to leave. He just left. And so, hold on, let me watch that part. So I go back, and Bill had basically made it really clear, you got me for an hour and a half.
Right.
Let's do everything we can. And then it kind of went slightly past that, and it ended on this guy. They were talking about his helicopter. And
Bill's.
Yeah, because Bill flies.
Yeah.
And this guy, I can only assume, only thinks that helicopters are for war, because he asks them, "Do you have like a gun in your helicopter?" And Bill, that's exactly what Bill did. What? He's fucking talking. He fucking talking about. Of course I don't. And then he pushed it a little further, as he does, right? Like, I don't have a fuck. What? Why would I have a fuck? And they go, well, because That's my terrible Theo Von impersonation, but it's pretty good.
Maybe not so terrible. Yeah.
And then Bill goes, okay, I gotta go. You know, he takes his headphones off and then to hear, so I did a deep dive into this, and then to hear Bill Burr later, he goes, yeah, and then we talked about trucks and stuff in the parking lot, but I had to go pick up my kid at school, you know, and yet, you know, as Theo is reminiscing about it, none of that existed. It was just like, you know, so people, right?
I don't know who this Theo Von guy is. He sounds like a real character, but I don't like it. I gotta say, I don't like it. Don't like it.
Why are there so many people with podcasts that become popular? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, that is what I'd like to know. How did they become popular? Please, someone tell us.
Yeah, I'd take it. I'd take it.
We are now.
Maybe I'm just jealous.
I think you are of Theo Von. Yeah, we are now up to like 60 subscribers or something astronomical like that. Isn't that amazing?
Oh, Trevor, this is going to be so big. Where like the whole
Stellar.
You know, iconic characters we created in cartoons, that's gonna be nothing.
Right.
They're gonna go, oh, Devall, Corlett, the podcasters?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what it's gonna be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they'll say, wait a minute, those guys did cartoons?
Exactly.
Wow.
See, okay.
Yeah. It's a good thing we have realistic expectations about this. It's important to have realistic expectations.
Well, you know what's I mean, we must never be in the same room. That's a given when we do this, because clearly the room will not be big enough for our gigantic heads that we're going to have to put some kind of lube or Vaseline on the temples to get us through the door.
Yeah.
But oddly enough, for the listeners at home, we, for the first time in how many years, we were actually in proximity this week.
Yes.
And there was no recording going on.
I know, and I'm kind of glad that we just got a chance to just sit at a restaurant and, like a couple of regular fellas, just have a conversation and not make everything about a microphone. That was nice.
Exactly. And the funny thing is, for the rabid ReActors fans out there who are hanging on our every word, there were times where we went, you know what? Let's save this.
Save it for the podcast.
Save it for the podcast. Yeah. So,
but you know, you could look at the entire history of our friendship, pretty much since day one, since we met each other. Every conversation we've had really should have been saved for the podcast, because it was always this. It was always just very, we think we're pretty interesting, don't we? Yeah, let's talk about how interesting we think we are, you know.
It's true. And, you know, up until, you know, very recently, last decade, there were a million people like us who thought they were having interesting conversations. And I say they are interesting conversations. I don't think that's a stretch to hang our hats on that. That just continued having interesting conversations and nowhere to put them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now we're sharing.
Yeah.
It's
because,
like Trevor, it's like a gift. We're giving a gift to the world.
Mm-hmm. The ReActors give a gift to the regifters.
A gift.
A Seinfeld episode
of Trevor and Ian.
That sounds like the perfect place to end this, but it's only been half an hour, so we can't.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, I just kicked
now
my
what
tripod.
are we going to talk about?
Well, there's nothing else.
Talked about how important we are, how earth-shaking and monumental this podcast will be. You know what? I was going to say will be. I think I'm going to edit that right now and say is.
Well, you can, but I'm the one who does the editing, so you know.
That's true. Oh, yeah, that's true.
There is very little editing I do, by the way. There's almost none. I mean, I just kicked my tripod. Maybe I'll edit that out. But
this is unvarnished. as my
Yeah.
dad would say. This is unvarnished. We're having unvarnished. There's the odd thing, just like tech stuff mostly.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
snip and chop out. Hey, okay. Well, here's a question for you. Since we want to continue this conversation, so you like to watch the TV?
Hey, every now and then I turn on the old TV.
Yeah, the idiot box, as my grandmother
as we
used to say. When you're watching something, well, let's take it out of comedy because that's its own thing. But if you're watching something dramatic, are you a cheerleader for performances, or are you a vicious critic?
Something dramatic?
Yeah,
Like what, for example? I mean, I'm sure we wouldn't watch the same thing at all, but what?
yeah,
for
maybe
example?
not. Maybe not. Well, like something. Well, no, this is going to tip my hand. A big budget, HBO drama.
Okay, like
Take your pick. I don't want to say any titles.
a drama, like something like. I mean, the only thing I can think of HBO is Game of Thrones, but that's not really well, I mean, it is a type of drama.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I'm thinking more
yeah.
like the what's the one about the newspaper magnate?
Succession.
Succession. That's
Yeah.
a big HBO, big budget
Yep.
drama that I've never seen, so I can't speak about that one.
Well, I can.
Okay.
I do. I watch that. Now that's a show that I think is almost letter perfect. Like it's
Okay.
just each performance elevates the next, and it's like, ooh, wow, that's really good. And I just watched. I'm not. See, now I'm being careful because I don't want to offend people who are fans of this. But I don't think anyone will have seen this because I won't mention the title. It's just Bill Odenkirk's latest.
Bob Odenkirk.
Did I say Bill?
You did. It's okay. We've been talking about
meant
Bill
Bob.
Burr this whole time.
Yeah, I meant Bob Odenkirk. So he has presented himself as an incredible dramatic talent.
Yes.
Even though there's an argument that, Better Call Saul, wasn't a strict drama, whatever. He's a great actor.
Who would say that? Who would say that
Well,
Better
'cause
Call
it-
Saul wasn't a
'cause-
strict drama?
Because it's just some dark comedy in there. Like even Breaking Bad, I think,
Yeah, there's moments.
there's a good dash of comedy. Like you might call it a dark comedy. Black comedy.
Yeah, maybe.
Just giving arguments. Anyway, so he's in his most recent show that, this is awful because it's shot in Vancouver. I'm not giving any titles. If anyone who cares. So anyway, he's in it and he's great. And there's a handful of other people in it who are great. The lady from here's a Canadian reference because we are doing this like for Canadian content points, right? This podcast.
Well,
Every
we
time?
have to. Otherwise,
Yeah.
they won't
Yeah.
allow us back into the country. So
You remember the Canadian classic, another Bill, another B name, Brent Butt,
yes,
had a show in Canada called Corner Gas. And the woman that played his girlfriend, wife, she's
Yeah.
good, is the point.
Okay.
She's good. Bob is good. And there was another guy. He was African American guy, and I think he was in Reno 911. I think.
Okay. So let me ask you this.
You-
I'm getting the idea that you're being very critical of the performances in this show with those few
and it
exceptions.
takes me out of it. It
Right,
takes me
so
out of it so bad.
Are you critical because you know that the supporting cast are from Vancouver?
No, because I didn't know it was from Vancouver when I started. I just went, "Hey, this is new. I'm going to watch this because I like Bob."
Right.
And it started out. I think it's really this is a whole. Is the sum of its parts for me? My wife liked it. for me, I went, nah, I'm out. I'm out. Because, and it's a Farrelly, one of the Farrelly brothers who made this, which, you know, there's an expectation there for me. I went, oh, okay, I'm Bill, and then...
Is it supposed to be funny? Is it a comedy?
Yeah, kind of.
Hard to say.
You know, there was a couple of Farrelly moments in the pilot, and I went...
So you didn't know it was from Vancouver, but you were out anyway. I have a hard time watching anything shot in Vancouver because I know half the people playing all the supporting roles, right? Like Nisa insisted that we watch all 370 seasons of Supernatural, which was surprisingly enjoyable, actually. Somehow
I know. I've heard people love that show. I get it.
Yeah, but they always kept it fresh after like 17 seasons. It was amazing. But of course, all the supporting cast, it's all local Vancouver people, and I would constantly be ripped out of that situation. Yeah. I remember the first time I recall having that feeling was watching Saving Private Ryan. In the scene where they find the first Private Ryan, the wrong Private Ryan, that's Nathan Fillion. And I had just recently directed him in his last amateur performance. I directed him in 93, I think it was, a play called Zastrozzi at the U of A, the University of Alberta. He went off to New York to do One Life to Live after that, and shortly after he got this role on Saving Private Ryan. So I'm watching Saving Private Ryan, lighthearted family romp that it is, and all of a sudden there's Nathan, who emerges on the screen, and right away I was taken out of it. I was like, what?
Oh.
What's this guy I know doing on the screen on this big movie? And it just, boom!
Yeah,
you know, every time
I can see
happens.
that. I can see that. Mine is my issues are agnostic to that. Like I think there one standout Vancouver production. Well, it's old now, man. And I've already it's a Chris Haddock show. Oh, Intelligence.
Oh, Intelligence.
Did you ever watch Intelligence?
No.
Yeah. Okay. So that was the thing that worked about that was it was unabashedly okay. It's set in Vancouver. We're gonna use actors who don't look like actors. So you know you get Ian. Help me?
Yep. Little Ian that was on Da Vinci's Inquest.
Yes.
Yep. Him.
Who was and they don't back to accents. They're talking like Canadians, right? And they're not trying to mask it up or anything. And it's underworld stuff, and it's raining, and it's gray, and it was like one of the first Canadian productions that I looked at and went, "Oh my God." Someone's figured it out. They've taken the British drama model, crime drama model, and taken small little stories in little neighborhoods, that have gritty, that British gritty grit, and they're doing it in Vancouver. And that, so I don't universally get taken out just because I recognize someone.
Right.
If the show is good, the show is good.
The thing about the British sensibility. I used to think that Canadians could never do like a crime drama like the one you're just describing because, well, there's no like guns in Canada, and whereas you watch an American production, everybody's blah blah blah, gunshots
pew,
and all that
pew,
kind of stuff. Pew pew pew.
Yeah.
But the Brits don't have guns there either, and their little gritty crime dramas are awesome anyway. So it's amazing that it took Canadians that long to actually figure that out.
Yeah,
that they could do that,
and they're few and far between. Just like anything, I don't want to put British crime dramas on a pedestal because usually the ones that we end up finding or coming here are the good ones.
Right.
There's plenty.
Right.
There's plenty of bad ones.
Right.
Just like there's plenty of bad Canadian and American crime dramas. They don't have a lock on it, but I do really like European, British, and Scandinavian crime dramas, mostly because I don't want to see only models who can remember lines.
Right. And you know what? That is the greatest thing about the British shows, is that they cast real looking people for the most part. And that's fantastic because it makes you feel, oh, this could be like even something like well, I don't know, I mean, take your pick. What's the one was a very, very popular show about the murder in the little cliffside town, and Olivia, what's her name, was in it with I always want to call him Doctor Who.
Yeah.
They did an American version of it, and he actually was in the American version of it as well, playing the same character. You know what I'm talking about?
It's something. Yeah, well, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like something like Cornwall, but it's not.
Yeah. Anyway,
what's his name?
David something. David
Tennant.
David Tennant. Yes. So we're both just on the ball today.
Wow.
This is just great.
It's just gone. And I'm looking up another one, an American example, Mindhunter.
Mindhunter, yes. They only did 2 seasons.
That was really good.
Yeah.
And largely, you know, I don't want to take anything away from the director or the writer, but the cast, you could tell they can't, probably New York, Chicago. That's my inkling just from who was in it, because those were a bunch of people that, I think those are stage actors, or because they're very few. Actually, the guy who played that guy who played the original King George in Hamilton on stage, flagrant, flaming, bigger than life musical character, was one of the leads in Mindhunter. Total straight drama, like small. So, to heck with the people that go, oh, you're a stage actor, you're going to be too big for... No, if you're a good actor, you're a good actor.
And Mindhunter also was graced and blessed with one of the most beautiful women in Hollywood, which is Anna Torv. My God, Anna Torv. My God.
Yeah.
Anna Torv.
Yeah.
There was a time when I thought, I think I got a shot with her. Because... Why
did you ever think that?
Because I'm delusional. Because I was in Vancouver at the same time she was, and I thought somehow that's enough. I'm going to somehow meet her and impress her. This is what went to my... I mean, I didn't stalk her. I'm not that guy. But I actually thought, you know what? I'm going to get a shot at meeting her, and I was convinced of it. Crazy. Hey, did I ever tell you the time I was at my first Emmy party in LA? Did I ever tell you about this? It was the, when you remember the Emmys, you get to go to little parties where they're courting your votes and such at the big hotel in Beverly Hills there.
We went to one together. An event. It wasn't a party, but
yeah. Right. We went to a couple of those like screenings and stuff, but this was the actual shindig where, you go around and eat the canapé and drink the wine.
All right. Okay.
And it was ridiculous. And I went to the first one that was interesting. Everyone I went to after that, I was like, okay, that's enough. This is ridiculous. These people are just, ugh. Anyway, so...
No, it was because you wore your 3 suits and you didn't want to repeat. I know.
All right,
no, anyway, sorry.
So Minnie Driver was one of the people that was there. And she was right there. And I was like, I should go up and strike up a conversation with Minnie Driver, because when am I going to get a chance to impress a woman like that at a place like this? And again, Joe Confidence, it's no problem. I'm going to get myself a date with Minnie Driver. You just that was what's going to happen. But as I was walking towards her, all of the opening lines that came into my head, they were gold. They were zingers. Like, for example, I was going to go up to her and pull out my keys, which had a BMW, keychain, and say, I'm a Minnie Driver too. Or going up to her, because she's quite tall, to say something like, well, there's nothing Minnie about you, is there? Or, because I work for Disney, I could say, well, I'm kind of the Mickey to your Minnie. So all of these were obviously killer, awesome lines that would have just got me to third base instantly with her. Luckily, a friend of mine said, don't say any of those things to her. And so I didn't, and I never actually met her. And that's the story. So.
Ironic having a name like that, though, isn't it?
It is.
She's not Minnie.
And,
why does she have anything to do with driving?
By all accounts, I shouldn't say by all accounts, by some accounts, It wouldn't have been a very pleasant experience anyway, from what I've heard from some people.
Oh, so
maybe.
you did follow-up research to make yourself feel better?
Yes, of course.
Is that what the message is here?
That's right. She's crazy anyway, is what I said.
Yeah, I would have never. No way. Sure dodged a bullet on that one. Oh, man. Almost. I was this close, right?
Close!
So, on that note, what do you think?
I think that's a good note. That's a note.
Yeah.
Another failure.
Close.
Oh, God. Okay, well, I've got a lot of editing to do. All of these big gaps in the conversation. All right.
Oh, big gaps. If I had a nickel for every...
Hey, oh, zing, zing, hey, oh, hey, oh. Tip your waitress, try the meal. We're here till Thursday. Okay, bye.
Bye.